All right, we are live. What's going on, guys? Let me tweet out that I'm live, and then we can get into it. 9 games is looking like a pretty good slate. I'm getting back in my cash game ways here tonight. Entering a lot of cash games, something I did a lot last few years. Haven't really done a lot this season, but now I got a lot more time on my hands, so. Let's jump into it. As always, we'll go over what we know so far. So let's go to Fantasy Labs and let's go to the beginning of the day. We can look at the over-unders, spreads, and then we can get to players and their prices, and then questions at the end. We got a good amount of time here, 45 minutes until lock, so let's do it. Paul George is in. He's good to go. Again, I talked about that in my video with him and Kawhi Leonard being questionable. So Kawhi's out. Obviously, Paul George is a really, really good play today. Malcolm Brogdon looks like he's in as well. So that kind of takes Aaron Holiday and McConnell out of play, who I talked about in my video. Gordon Hayward is just a lock button play there, 3K and Draftkings. He's min-price, no minutes limit. He's starting. So free square there. Again, no Kawhi, no JaMychal Green. Let's see what else. Fred VanVleet still questionable. This is pretty big news. If he misses, I really like Kyle Lowry. We can look to guys like Norman Powell will get a big boost. Even a guy like Terrence Davis at close to min price is viable. Let's see what else. Again, yeah, Gordon Hayward on track. This is pretty surprising. Gallinari got ruled out. So there are a good amount of minutes to go around for the OKC on the OKC side. It's just a tough spot. So we'll see. I'll talk about some value guys there on the OKC side. Let's see, what else we got? Jay Crowder is questionable. If he misses, again, I'll talk about a couple of Memphis guys. Cat probable. He stands out as a really, really good play. We got Jeff Teague and Wiggins questionable once again. They've been questionable the last few games that they have been able to go. Marcus Smart rolled out. Not a huge deal. Again, I really think it's kind of Gordon Hayward there, and that's about it. Let's see. And then Clippers are starting Pat Beverly, Paul George, Mo Harkless, Pat Patterson, Zubac. So it's basically Paul George and a bunch of really, really low usage guys. It's also a revenge game for Paul George. So he stands out as a pretty good play. Let's see, Derek Favors looks like he's going through pregame warmups. So my best guess is he plays just because it was a personal reason. So he's someone, again, I think is in play. But let's go over the over-unders and the spreads actually real quick. So Clippers Pacers at 217.5. The Pacers are favored by 2. Cavs Celtics at 216. Again, definitely some blowout risk here. 14.5 points. Boston's favored. Pistons Pelicans at 228. Looks like it's a pick 'em right now. Magic Bucks at 218. Again, some blowout risk here. Bucks favored by 13. They've been blowing out teams every single night. Kings Rockets 226.5. The Rockets favored by 12. Again, some blowout risk there. Raptors Bulls at 214. The Raptors are favored by 6.5. T-Wolves Suns 233. The Suns favored by 4, so this one's a pretty high over-under. OKC and Utah sitting at 207.5. The Jazz favored by 8.5 points. And the late night hammer here is Grizzlies Warriors 220. The Warriors favored by 3. So we'll go team by team here. Let's start with the Clippers. So, right, no Kawhi Leonard. That's a huge boost to Paul George at 7.8K. It's a revenge game. I think in a close game, he gets about 30 to 32 minutes. He really stands out as a pretty good play at that price. You can also look to Montrez and Lou Williams. So I think go a bit lower owned. I think everyone's going to go to Paul George. That doesn't take Montrez out, or Lou Williams out of play. I think both these guys get a pretty big boost as well. So all three of those main guys have a good amount of interest here in a tougher spot, but still, with no Kawhi Leonard, that's just a lot of usage to go around. Pat Beverly at 5K, just probably not for me on this slate. Still no JaMychal Green, so guys like Mo Harkless and Pat Patterson will get some decent run. These guys are just really low usage guys. Pat Patterson did have that one good game against Portland, but he hit like 5 threes. Don't think we can expect that again, so even with these guys, I guess I'd prefer Mo Harkless between those two, but I still just don't have a great feel. They're really, really low usage guys, so that's what I'm thinking here for the Clippers. On the Pacers side, it's kind of Sabonis here. It's Brogdon, and that's what I'm looking at. Miles Turner, too, at 5.3K. That price tag does intrigue me. He's been not so good this year, but we know he's going to get like 30 to 35 minutes in a close game. So he's in play. Again, he's not my favorite play, but the price tag does make him viable. With Brogdon playing, that definitely takes Aaron Holiday. That definitely takes McConnell out of play. Brogdon himself here at 7.3 seems pretty safe. Again, we know we're going to get out of him about 30 to 35 minutes. Same thing with Sabonis, right? He's been so safe. He's going to get about 35 or so minutes in a close game. So no issue with Sabonis, no issue with Brogdon. Those guys seem pretty safe. Miles Turner, just because of the price right at 5.3K. But that's what I got here for the Pacers. Cleveland, Boston, there's just not a lot to like here on the Cleveland side, honestly. I mean, Kevin Love, the price is intriguing, 6.4K for Kevin Love, but he is the first guy that's going to get pulled in the blowout. This game definitely has some blowout risk, right? The Cavs have just been terrible, so I still, even at a discounted price, I don't know if I can do it. Same thing with Tristan Thompson. The secondary pieces in a tough spot, it's a pass. I mean, the one guy I guess I would consider would be a guy like C.D. Osman, who probably gets 30 minutes or so, but still, I just think there's better value plays. So Cleveland side, it's kind of a fade. On the Boston side, so obviously, right, it's Gordon Hayward stands out as the best play. Min price, no limit, he's starting. I think he gets probably 25 to 35 minutes, somewhere in that range, right? If it's a blowout, maybe gets 25. Even so, it doesn't really matter. At the flat minimum price, it's kind of a free square there, and then you move on. The other options with Kemba, Tatum, Jaylen Brown are all decent options. Again, I'm just kind of scared of the blowout. It's a really good spot. But for me, really, my main interest there is it's kind of Gordon Hayward, and that's it. I get it if you want to go with one of these guys, but I just like spots elsewhere for guys similar priced. Marcus Smart is out. Those minutes have to go somewhere, but Boston, they do run a deep rotation. So maybe Wanamaker gets a little extra run. They got like Semi Ojeleye. They got Carson Edwards. They have a bunch of rat guys at the end of the bench that they can give minutes to. So no one really stands out as a great play with Marcus Smart being out. Again, it's kind of Gordon Hayward, and that's it. If you want to take a shot in GPPs, Enes Kanter, I mean, if he gets like 20 to 25 minutes, he can definitely get you there, but they're just so up and down that you can't feel great about it. That's what I got there for Boston. Orlando, Milwaukee, another game I'm honestly not super excited about. This is just Milwaukee plays at a fast pace, but they're a really good defensive team. There's definitely some blowout risk here. It's just no one really stands out. Their prices. Aaron Gordon's priced up. I think Fournier and Isaac are priced accordingly. Markelle Fultz is okay at that price, but I just don't think we have to do it on this slate. There's just better spots. So Orlando, basically a fade. Milwaukee, kind of the same thing. They've been blowing out teams every single night, right? The Bucks haven't had a close game since November. It's been insane. If you want to get a low-owned Giannis will be 5%. So take the shot in GPPs. Don't mind that, right? You just got to hope Orlando can somehow keep it close. Then that could pay off for you. But if you're making a cash game lineup, you just fade this game, right? There's just definitely blowout risk. So the Cleveland-Boston game, the Orlando-Milwaukee game, it's just a fade for me. Just nothing standing out, at least for cash games. For GPPs, again, you can take a shot in a low-owned Giannis, but that's all I got. On the Sacramento side, there is a decent amount to like here. So this is an up-tempo game. They put an 8-man rotation last game. So Buddy Hield, Holmes, Bjelica, Bogdan. I do have some interest in these guys. We'll start with Buddy Hield at 7.1K. He'll get about 35 to 40 minutes in a close game. Again, this is an up-tempo game, so he's at a discounted price. I think he's definitely viable. Holmes' price is up, but I still think he's playable. I don't think he's my favorite play there at 7K. Barnes is always a safe guy, but 6K doesn't really stand out. Bjelica, I do have some interest here, right? The minutes have been a bit up and down, but we know when he's playing well, he can get 35 minutes. Again, this is a really up-tempo game, so I do have some interest in Bjelica here at this price at 5.7. I think he's a pretty solid play. Still no Marvin Bagley. I believe they have him listed as questionable. I believe he got ruled out already. Bogdan, I have some interest in here. 4.8K. He's been really bad. I'm a little torn here on whether or not I want to play him. He's been dealing with the hamstring injury, the knee injury. He just hasn't looked like himself. But we know when he's healthy and he's playing well, the upside is huge, right? Like he can put up 50 fantasy points in the spot, but he's been really bad. The thing is, you are getting him at a discount. 4.8K is pretty cheap, and this is an up-tempo game. So I do have some interest in Bogdan. I'm a little torn on what I want to do just because of the injury situation, but I do have some interest there at 4.8. Let's see, other options. Corey Joseph's okay at 4.2. I think gets around 30 minutes. He's a pretty low usage guy, but he's a viable cheap option. But that's what I got here for Sacramento. So there is a decent amount to like on the cheap end. You got Bogdan, you got Bjelica, and then you got Buddy Hield up top. That's kind of my main interest here for Sacramento. On the Houston side, so I really just think for cash games, you build the mid tier approach. You play Cat, you play a lot of those guys in the 6 to 8K range, right? There's a lot of really good plays in that range, and then you go from there. You play Gordon Hayward as a cheap play. If you want to get risky for GPPs, you can play Harden. Again, I really don't see the upside of playing Harden there at 12K in cash games. It's just the opportunity cost of you can't really get a whole lot of other guys in your lineup. So really Harden, only a GPP play. Kind of the same thing with Westbrook. I like a lot of guys cheaper than him. So not super hot, super excited about him. Capella is probably my main interest here at 7.4K. I'm a little worried he only got 27 minutes. Now, it could have been a foul trouble. He did get 4 fouls. I didn't really watch that game, so maybe it was because of foul trouble, but normally he's a guy that gets around 35 minutes in a close game. So I do have some interest in Clint Capella here at 7.4K. The cheap options, not really for me. Everyone seems priced about right. So that's kind of what I got for Houston. Honestly, it's Capella, and that's about it. Harden, if you want to take a shot for GPPs, again, him and Giannis will be super, super low-owned. If you want to take the riskiest stack of all time, you play Harden, you play Giannis, and you just hope that they both go off, right? Both those guys are going to be super low-owned. But cash games, again, it's Cat, it's Gordon Hayward, and it's a lot of those mid-tier guys, in my opinion. On the Toronto side, so we're waiting on Fred VanVleet still. Current list as questionable. I don't think he's going to be able to go because that game was last night and he left the game, didn't return. The guys I have a lot of interest in are Siakam and Kyle Lowry at the top, right? Both these guys get a pretty big boost with no Fred VanVleet. Both are going to play huge minutes. It's a pretty good spot here against Chicago, so I like Siakam a lot. I love Kyle Lowry at this price. I just don't see myself getting away from him. He's going to get about 40 minutes in a close game. No Fred VanVleet. That's just a bigger boost to him. So you got to like him at that price. Norman Powell, even at this price, I think he starts and probably gets 30 to 35 minutes. He's a guy that is scoring dependent, but we know the upside is there, so I like him a good amount too. Gasol and Ibaka are okay. I think I prefer the guards and Siakam to them, but I don't mind those guys. OG's even viable, 4.7K. I think the minutes go up for him. We know that he does have upside in him too. RHJ, I don't really know what the minutes are going to be like for him. He's a bit all over the place, right? He can play a lot of positions, so I think maybe about 20 minutes. He doesn't stand out as a great play, but I think he's viable. A guy like Terrence Davis at 3.3K is intriguing. I think he's going to have to play more minutes, right? He's been playing 15, 14, 17 minutes with everyone healthy. If Fred VanVleet misses, I think he probably gets low to mid-20s minutes, and he is a guy that does have upside. So he is someone I'm definitely considering as a value play for sure if Fred VanVleet does miss. But that's what I got for Toronto. So honestly, a lot to like here. Siakam at the top, Kyle Lowry at the top, Norman Powell on the cheap end. Gasol and Ibaka are okay. I get it if you want to go there. OG is as a cheap guy. Terrence Davis. I like a lot here for Toronto. If Fred VanVleet plays, I still have interest in these guys. I still think Kyle Lowry's too underpriced. I still think Siakam's underpriced. Fred VanVleet himself, I could play if he's not going to be limited. So, yeah, there's a lot to like here on the Toronto side. As far as Chicago goes, it's a tougher spot for them. Zach LaVine, I think only for GPPs, right? He's going to play big minutes in a close game. 7.6K is a fair price. We know Wendell Carter Jr., we know Markkanen. They've been playing big minutes as well. Again, it's a really tough spot for these guys, but the price tags make them okay. Markkanen, the minutes have been way up for him, right? 36 and 38. Again, this is a really tough spot. So those three are viable. Don't stand out as great plays. Santa Ransky at 5.5, I can't do it. The minutes went down to 23. It's just, if Kobe White's playing well, they'll leave Santa Ransky on the bench. It just worries me. And at 5.5K, don't think we have to take a shot there. Chris Dunn at 5.1 is okay as a cheap option. Probably gets around 30 minutes in a close game. Don't mind him. But again, no one really stands out as a great play here on the Chicago side. Kobe White for GPPs. Again, the minutes are all over the place, so he's a bit riskier of an option. But that's kind of what I got for Chicago. My main interest in this game is a lot on the Toronto side. The Chicago guys, again, no one really stands out as a great play. Detroit and the Pelicans, I do have some interest in this game, a decent amount. So Andre Drummond is an interesting GPP pivot off of a guy like Karl-Anthony Towns. Towns, I think, is going to be like 80% owned in cash games. Drummond for, 800 more? You could pivot there for GPPs. You could honestly play both, too. I think Drummond has big upside still. This is a great spot, a smash spot here against the Pelicans. I know his price is up. I still think he's viable. So he's an interesting pivot off of a high-owned cat for GPPs. Blake Griffin, his price is coming up. Again, this is such a good spot. So I do have some interest in him as well. The secondary guy is not really for me. D Rose maybe for GPPs. Kennard's okay, but really my main interest here is Blake Griffin, is Andre Drummond. I don't think I'm doing it for cash games, but for GPPs, those guys definitely intrigue me in a really, really good spot here. On the Pelicans side, there's a good amount to like here as well. Brandon Ingram, love this price here at 7.5K. The price is down, right? That game against Phoenix, he left because he was injured. I think he had to get stitches. Still in 30 minutes, had 32 fantasy points. The game against Dallas blew out, so he only played 25 minutes. In a close game, he's going to get around 35 to 40 minutes. We know he's the main guy in the offense, and he's too cheap right now, so really like him at that price. Same thing with Drew Holiday at 7.1. The thing is with him and Ingram, we know the minutes are going to be there, so both those guys stand out as pretty decent plays. Even Lonzo Ball at 5.2, I think gets around 30 to 35 minutes in a close game. We know when he's playing well, the upside is there, so he's someone I do like as well. Favors even, I think he's going to be good to go. They have him listed as questionable, but it was because of a personal reason. It's not because of he's injured. So I think since he's warming up, he's going to be good to go. I think he's an interesting play here at 5K. We don't really know what the minutes are going to be like. If we go off what he played in recent games, it was 29, 29, and 35. And Detroit runs big. So I think Favors is a pretty good play here if he's going to start and play like those type of minutes. So I think he goes a bit low round too. So he's someone I'm definitely keeping an eye on as well there at 5K. Jackson Hayes would only go there if Favors misses. Kenrich is okay at 3.5K. That's kind of what I got. So there's still a good amount to like here for the Pelicans as well. It's Brandon Ingram and Drew Holiday at the top. If you're going to make me choose between those two, I'm going to slightly lean towards Ingram. I think he has a little bit more upside. I like Lonzo in the mid-range. Derek Favors, if he plays and starts, I do have some interest there at that price. And then Jackson Hayes, if Favors doesn't miss, I would look there at 4.2. Let's see. Last three games here, OKC and Utah. So the big news is Favors out, I think you guys said. Let's see. Let me check Twitter really quick. Favors ruled out. Okay. So Jahlil Okafor, Kenrich Williams will start ahead of Jackson Hayes, Lonzo Ball, too. So that is intriguing. So let's go back to that really quick then. Okay. So with no Derek Favors, I think Jackson Hayes at 4.2K becomes a pretty solid value play, right? He's going to probably play 25 to 30 minutes. But again, they're starting Jahlil Okafor. Let's talk about Okafor. He's at 3.4. So he stands out as a pretty good value play as well. The concern with Okafor is, sometimes if he's not playing well, they will just completely cut out his minutes. Like that game against OKC, I think he started and only played 9 minutes. So there is some worry, but he is a guy that can definitely get you there in limited time, right? Like if he's playing well, he could get 30 to 40 fantasy points, honestly, if he gets the time. So I have a good amount of interest now in Jahlil Okafor. Again, he's a little bit risky because the minutes I don't think are necessarily secure. But at that price, he doesn't have to do a whole lot to get you there. So now Jahlil Okafor stands out as a really good play. Kenrich Williams is also starting at 3.5K. I think he's a pretty solid option. So kind of interesting that they're not starting Lonzo Ball. But yeah, that definitely does worry me now with Lonzo, right? I don't think the minutes are going to be there for him. So I think that kind of takes me off Lonzo. So now, yeah, like I said, it changes a lot here. So Ingram and Drew still at the top. I still like those guys. Now the cheap plays I'm looking at are Jahlil Okafor and Kenrich Williams. I think Jahlil Okafor stands out as a really good play here at 3.4. The only concern is that, if he's not playing well, maybe they will limit his minutes. But at that price, again, he doesn't have to do a whole lot to get you there. So I do have a good amount of interest there in Okafor. I'm honestly probably going to try to get him in my lineups now. Kenrich Williams, too, is viable. But that's kind of what I got for the 32 a game. So I think they don't really have a backup small forward. I think, where is he? Baisley here, Darius Baisley at the flat minimum, maybe picks up the start. He's a pretty low usage guy, but if he starts, I think he's viable. Again, whoever picks up the start, I would have interest in on the OKC side. Chris Paul, SGA, they get a little bit of boost in Gallinari. Dennis Schroeder even, I think, gets more minutes. I think they run a lot of the 3 guard lineup, so I think he gets probably 30 to 35 minutes. It's a tough spot, but he's viable. So, if Gallinari was going to play, OKC was the team I didn't have a lot of interest in. But with now Gallinari out, again, those minutes have to go somewhere. So I do have some interest in these guys with Chris Paul, SGA, Dennis Schroeder. They all stand out as pretty decent plays. Again, they could start like a guy like Abdul Nader. We'll see. A lot of these guys that they can start are pretty low usage guys. But if they start a guy like Bazley, right, he's a guy that my best guess would probably get like 25 minutes. You could consider him there at the min price. But unless I came out of the starting lineup, I haven't seen it yet. But let's see. Yeah, nothing yet. Okay. But let's go to Utah. So, Utah, still no Mike Conley, so it's definitely a boost for Donovan Mitchell. He gets a pretty significant boost with no Conley. I think he's a pretty solid play there at 7.4K. Even Joe Ingles has been playing big minutes with no Conley. I think he gets close to 30, so he's a viable option. Gobert's okay there too at that price, but center is, opportunity cost, right? If you play Gobert, you're not going to play either Cat, Drummond, or now Okafor stands out as a good play. So don't know if I'm going to go there just because center. I do like a lot of the centers. But Donovan Mitchell has some interest. Bojan, too scoring dependent for me. I don't want to go there. Moutier, only if he starts, but I don't think they're going to start him. So really the main interest here on the OKC side is Donovan Mitchell, and it's Joe Ingles for me. Minnesota and Phoenix. So there's a lot in the air here, up in the air for these Minnesota guys, right? Wiggins and Teague are currently listed as questionable. Towns just stands out as a really good play at this price. I know Aaron Baines is probably going to give it a go, but it just doesn't matter. 9.3K is way too cheap for Karl Anthony Towns. I think for cash games, again, you kind of play him and you move on. For GPPs, you can pivot. Again, Drummond for like 800 more stands out as a nice pivot off of a high-owned Towns, but really like him there for cash games. Wiggins and Teague, again, both listed as questionable. If one of these guys can't go or if both can't go, then we can look at some value guys, right? Like Covington would stand out, Culver, Okogie. I think Shabazz Napier would be a really, really good play if Jeff Teague doesn't play. So that's stuff we have to monitor. But again, it kind of sucks because this is one of the later games. So I don't think we're going to get that news in time before lock for the main slate. So that's kind of what I got here for Minnesota. Again, a lot up in the air. If both Teague and Wiggins play, I think they're okay plays, but again, my main interest would be Towns. If one or both those guys miss, then we look to these secondary pieces, right? Covington, Culver, Okogie, and Shabazz Napier. On the Phoenix side, there's not a whole lot I'm interested in. This is a pretty high over-under, but with Aaron Baines coming back, most likely, that just kind of takes all the bigs out of play. With Sarge, Kaminsky, Diallo, everyone takes a hit. No one really stands out there. The guards, I have some interest in with Rubio and Booker. Rubio seems like a pretty safe play. It is a revenge game, too, at 7K. Don't mind him. Booker, also, again, it's a good spot, but you are paying a premium for him here at 8.5. So cash games don't want to do it. GPPs, the two guys I would consider would be Booker and Rubio. Last game of the night, again, not a whole lot I'm interested in here. JV at 7.1 is a guy that is very boom or bust, but we know his upside games are there, right? 60, 53, 57. This is a really good spot, but he busted it in the same spot about a few weeks ago against Golden State, right? 18 fantasy points in 26 minutes. So he's very up and down. Again, only for GPPs. John Morant, I do have a decent amount of interest here at 6.9K. They said he's not going to be limited. I think he gets about 30 or so minutes. So I kind of like him there at that price. I think he goes very, very low owned. Jay Crowder currently listed as questionable. If he misses, we can look at some of these secondary pieces, like Solomon Hill, Goodrich, even at 3.2K, has been kind of his backup. But yeah, that's kind of what I got. Kyle Anderson, I think, is currently listed as questionable as well. Looks like he's not going to go, but really, there's honestly not a whole lot I'm interested in here on the Memphis side. It's John Morant and JV as GPP plays, but that's about it. We could look to some of these cheap guys if Jay Crowder does miss, so that's something we will have to keep an eye on. On the Golden State side, it's really nothing. It's D'Angelo Russell for GPPs only. The minutes have been down on him since he returned 25-29. Until he starts playing like 35 minutes, I can't do it. So only for GPPs. The secondary pieces, there's way too many guys now in the rotation that I'm just not considering any of those guys. So That's what I got here for this 9-game slate. Let me see if we got any more news. Fred VanVleet just got ruled out. Okay, so again, the Raptors guys, I like a lot of those Raptors guys. Siakam, Lowry, Norman Powell, OG, Terrence Davis in the cheap end. So there's a lot to like there. But let's get to some questions here. Thoughts on Bazley? Yeah, so if he starts, I would have some interest there at min price. But I don't think we have starting lineup yet. Jalil will play more minutes if he's starting. Okafor over Harkless maybe now. I would definitely go Okafor over Harkless. Again, the concern with Okafor is he has started games before and only played like 9 minutes. So, I do like Okafor. It's just somewhat risky, but he doesn't have to do a whole lot to get you there. Hayward will be 100% in cash. He should be. I think he's a free square. So, I don't see myself getting around fading Hayward there. Fred VanVleet out, yep. So again, I like a lot of those Raptors guys now. The standout is really good plays. Lowry, Siakam, Fred VanVleet. There's a lot to like here on that side. But I'm doing some rearranging now with my lineup, seeing what I want to do here. I'm in a really, really tricky spot with. It's like a toss-up for me right now with Brandon Ingram and Pascal Siakam. I love both those guys. Probably can only get one of them in right now, so it's almost a coin flip for me. That's what I'm trying to decide right now. Thoughts on Kevin Love? If Cleveland's going to keep it close, he probably will have a big game. So you could do it for GPPs. I still can't do it for cash games. There's just better plays. Like in the mid-tier range, there's like Paul George, there's Kyle Lowry, there's Ingram, there's Siakam. There's a lot of really good plays in the mid-tier that Kevin Love still just doesn't really stand out as a great play. Giannis going for 80 tonight, watch. He definitely could. There's a shot. If Orlando can keep it close, he can. It's just Milwaukee's been blowing out every single team, so again, there is some worry there. Any Oubre love? He's just always a guy I only go to for GPPs. Let's see. He's at 6.7. It's an up-tempo game, so yeah, I think you can do it for GPPs. I still can't do it for cash games. I think other plays are safer, but for GPPs, you can do it for sure. They're trying to trade Kevin Love, so he needs to showcase out there somehow. Yeah, I mean, like I said, at 6.4K, it is a pretty cheap price tag for Kevin Love, but I still prefer other plays in a similar price point. Like Kyle Lowry for 400 more, it's not even a comparison, right, with him and Kevin Love. Kyle Lowry's going to play 40 minutes in a close game. There's no Fred VanVleet, so I just don't see myself personally getting into Kevin Love when there's just better options. There's safer options for cash games. For GPPs, you could always do it, but not for me tonight. Tucker, House. Not super excited about the Phoenix secondary pieces. Let's see. Or not the Phoenix, Houston secondary pieces. I think Tucker is probably the safer option compared to House. Where's House? House is 4.9. Yeah, so House will play less minutes. I think he has more upside on a point per minute basis. But I think Tucker will probably get 35 to 40 minutes. And he stands out as probably the safer play. So I think PJ for cash, House for GPPs. But honestly, I'm not super excited about either of those guys. Like, I would much prefer a guy like Norman Powell at the exact same price to those two. So, I got Giannis, Lowry, Siakam, Sabonis. Hey, that's a pretty good core. Lowry, Siakam, Surge too much for cash? I don't think so. Surge is a guy I'm not super excited about. Again, I like Siakam more. I like Kyle Lowry more. I like Norman Powell more. Surge at 4.7. Did get 28 minutes. I think he stands out as a decent option. OG even too, right? There's just a lot to like here. With no Fred VanVleet, there's a lot of minutes to go around. So, yeah, I really think you're going to want to get a couple of these, Toronto guys in your lineup for sure. PG or Pascal. That's a close call, but I'm going to go Paul George by a hair. But I like both. Towns questionable. I think he's probable. I think he's going to be good to go unless that just came out. Yeah, Norman Powell, too, starting for Fred VanVleet. So, let's see. Best 4.2K best shooting, or 4.3K shooting guard option. Let's see. I think it's going to be 4.3K. Well, it's depending on news, right? I could look. I would definitely go to a Koji if like one of those guys with Teague and Wiggins miss. There's not a whole lot else here. I mean, Terrence Davis, he's really cheap, so yeah, that's kind of what I got. Siakam, GPP, Mikal Bridges or Keita Bates-Diop, Cat or Booker, more fantasy points. Definitely Cat there over Booker. Bridges versus Bates-Diop, two guys I'm not super excited about, honestly. Bridges, what has his minutes been like? 4.1. Bridges versus Bates-Diop. Let's see what Bates-Diop's minutes have been like. I guess Bridges. I mean, if Wiggins misses, you could look to Bates-Diop. But again, I don't think we have to go there in the slate. Powell starting, yep. So I think Powell stands out as a pretty good play there at that price. Harrell or Ingram. I'll go Ingram there. I like his upside more. Lowry at 40, 6.8K. Yeah, I think Lowry stands out as a really good play. Man, a GPP dart. I mean, you could make an argument for anyone being a GPP dart. I think he will get some run here at the flat minimum price. I still don't think I would even do it. Even as a dart, I just don't think. Cauley-Stein, the Golden State guys, there's just too many options, so not for me. Lou, Montrez, and PG too much on FanDuel. I think I would only play two of those three. I don't know if I would play all three. I didn't really look at their prices on FanDuel, but I don't think I would play all three. Going Lowry, Lou, Hayward, PG, Trez, Terrence Davis, Sabonis, and Siakam for cash. I think that's a pretty good cash game lineup. Cauley, last three games that he put up 30 fantasy points will be get that minutes is the question. Yeah, again they have a lot of bigs, so I just don't feel great about Cauley-Stein there. Let's see. Going Brooks over Terrence Davis, though. Well, they're different prices, right? Brooks is a lot more expensive. 4.5K. So, thoughts on Ja? I think he probably is my favorite player in Memphis. I do have some interest there, so I don't think I would do it for cash games, but for GPPs, I definitely think he is a viable option for sure. Best value, Hayward, Powell, Brooks, period. Yeah, I definitely think Hayward and Powell. Brooks definitely would get a boost if Jay Crowder does miss. So, yeah, I think he's a pretty solid option as well. Harrell or Lou. I think Harrell is probably the safer play, but Lou is the play with more upside. Gordon and Tice in the same lineup. You can do it. I'm not super excited about Tice. Let's see. Lou will flop. Drew or Buddy Hield. I do like both those guys. I think Drew probably for cash, Hield for GPPs, but I do have some interest there for sure in both those guys. Lou, Jerome Robinson, or Beverly, Justin Holiday. I'll go Lou and Jerome Robinson. Not super excited about Jerome Robinson, but definitely like that combo better than Beverly and Justin Holiday. 6,900 for guard. Let's see. Kyle Lowry for sure at 68 if you don't have him already. Hield will disappoint too. You never know. It's an up-tempo game. Like there's definitely some blowout risk, so there's a chance he could, but I think he's a pretty safe play. Rubio versus Lowry, definitely Lowry for cash games. Um, if Teague misses, what will Shabazz minutes be? Yeah, so if Teague misses, I think Shabazz probably gets 25 to 30, and if that happens, I think Shabazz would be one of my favorite value plays. The thing is, I just don't think we're going to get that news in time. Um, so that's why it's tricky, right? And I'm playing a good amount of guys in these earlier games, well, at least in like the 6 and 7 o'clock games for Central. So I just don't know if we're going to get that in time. Look on the rise for Shabazz. So yeah, an interesting. If you want to get GPPs, I think Shabazz goes low owned, and maybe T gets rolled out like really late in the night, and then you get Shabazz low owned. You could definitely make an argument for that. So no issue if you want to do that. Harkless or Okafor, I definitely would go Okafor there. Again, there is some concern with his minutes because he has started games before and only played like I think that game against OKC he started only played 9 minutes. So there is some concern, but at 3.4K doesn't have to do a whole lot. Lowry Rubio, again, I'll go Lowry there. I just think Lowry's a lot safer. Lowry and cash, I'll take that Rubio revenge for GPPs. Yes, I like Rubio too, like I said. And I'm trying to decide on last guard right now, and I might play Rubio. Like I'm deciding between Rubio, Drew Holiday, and Buddy Hield. It's a really close call for me right now. It's something I'm still trying to decide. Again, I had to rearrange my lineup. Um, yeah, this is tricky for sure. It's an up tempo game, so I have no issue if you want to go Rubio. I like him a good amount. I think he's a pretty safe option, revenge game. Um, yeah, let's see. Lowry and Cash. Yeah, okay. Sabonis or Siakam. So it's definitely Siakam there, but I do like Sabonis too. Um, I just you can't with no Fred VanVleet. I think Siakam's stands out as a better play, but I do like both of those guys for sure. Okay, what I'm getting trolled. Moody in play only if he starts. I don't think we're gonna get that news in time too. Do you feel comfortable in Solomon Hill dart play? I would not, I wouldn't feel comfortable, but I think he is someone that you could consider if Drake Crowder misses. Chalk Lowry is a fade. Anunoby, Powell, Siakam are the Raptors. Hey, I mean, uh, go for it. If you want to fade Lowry, that's a bold move for sure. I think a there's a there's always a chance he could bust, right? Maybe if everyone else does really really well, the game blows out. So there's always a chance I will not be fading Lowry, but you are bolder than me if you are fading him. Notes say Crowder may have a flu bug. Okay, Powell or Fournier, definitely Norman Powell there. I know they're different prices, but the Raptors guys just really stand out. The thing is, the Raptors too, they run a tight rotation, so we know these guys are going to get big minutes. Even if the Raptors blow out the Bulls, which there's a chance it could happen, I still think a lot of those starters probably get over 30 minutes. So yeah, there's a lot to like for me on the Raptors. I really think you try to get a couple of those guys in your lineup for sure. Yeah, let's see. We got 5 minutes to lock. So Rubio Healed or Morant Griffin for GPP. That's tough. I'll go Rubio Healed. I do like both those options for GPPs. I think I like the upside a little bit more for Rubio and Healed. Powell or Bogdan. I'm a big Bogdan guy. If you guys watch my videos, you know I'm a big Bogdan guy. It's a good spot, but I have to go Powell here. He's just going to play more minutes. Bogdan's been dealing with the injury, so it pains me to say on a normal day when both are healthy, I think I would go Bogdan, but I have to go Norman Powell. I just think he's going to play more minutes. I think Norman Powell probably gets 35 in a close game. Yeah, I got to go Powell there. Bomba or Hayes, I don't think we have to go either. Between those two, I think Bomba now with Okafor starting. I don't know. I don't think we have to go with either of those guys. Solomon Hill, you could look there if Jay Crowder misses. Toronto players a lock, period. Yeah, like I said, I think you play a couple of Toronto guys. Rudy or Harrell. Rudy? Well, there's no Rudy Gay. What Rudy are we talking about here? Rudy Gobert, sorry. Gobert versus Harrell. Well, they're different prices, right? Gobert is 7.5. So if you're just picking between them straight up, I would go Gobert. But taking salary into consideration, I would go Montrez for 700 cheaper. 3,200 utility. 3,200. Let's see. Is there anyone even viable here at 3,200? Terrence Davis was 33. He would have been someone I definitely would have said, but he's 33. Goodrich, so he is someone I would actually look to if Jay Crowder misses. He's been playing a lot of the backup small forwards, so you could look there if Jay Crowder misses. Yeah, there's not a lot here. I don't think we have to take shots in these guys. Besides Gordon Hayward, obviously. That's me assuming you have Gordon Hayward in your lineup, I guess. If you don't have Gordon Hayward, obviously Gordon Hayward. But other than that, I mean, you could look to Goodrich if Jay Crowder misses. If not, I think you probably have to do some rearranging because I don't think you have to take a shot in those guys. Kenrich Willie or Jahlil Okafor. So I just like the upside a bit more for Okafor. Again, the concern is I don't think the minutes are necessarily secure, but if I knew Okafor was going to get 25 minutes, I would just lock him in, right? I don't think those minutes are necessarily secure, but at 3.4K, doesn't have to do a whole lot. Even if he gets like 15 to 20, I still think he can get you there. So I'm going to go Okafor over Kenrich. Harkless, 3,500, don't mind him. 35 plus minutes. Yeah, I think he's a solid option. He would be someone, I would definitely prefer him over Pat Patterson. Again, he's a low usage guy, but if he gets 30 to 35 minutes, doesn't have to do a whole lot. So I think Harkless is a viable, cheap option. 4,200 utility. Let's see. 4,200. I mean, I would probably go Solomon Hill, but I don't feel great about it. Even if Jay Crowder plays, I think Solomon Hill probably gets close to 30 minutes. So I would go Solomon Hill there. And then if Jay Crowder misses, he probably gets a little bit of a boost. Start Tice. Yeah, I think there's better value options than Tice, but I get it. What's Tice's price? There's no Robert Williams too. He's 4.2. I think he gets 20 to 25 minutes. I think I like better options more, but I get it if you want to go there. 4K forward, or should I just stay with Solomon? I would stay with Solomon there. Yes, finally. Shabazz for 3.2. Shabazz is 3.1 actually. That's a good call. I guess I didn't scroll that far down, but yes, I would just go Shabazz. And if Jeff Teague misses, then you probably get the best value player, or one of the best value plays at that price. So this is something you can consider for GPPs. Again, hoping Jeff Teague misses, because if Jeff Teague misses, I think Shabazz probably gets 25 or so minutes, and then I think you could crush that salary. But I don't think we're going to get that news in time. That's a good call. Thanks for bringing up Shabazz. I kind of forgot about him. Thanks, boss. Good luck tonight. Yeah, you too, man. This is a pretty good slate, in my opinion. There's going to be a lot of chalky guys, but yeah, I think it's a pretty decent slate. But yeah, any last minute questions? Otherwise, we are almost at lock. I can go over some ownership in these games. Let's see. Who do I have in the early game? I only have Paul George in the early game, but we'll see what it's like. Thanks for the help, Raw. Good luck, everyone. Yeah, you too, Rhythm Beast. Good luck, man. Thanks for always coming to check out the streams. Lock, good luck, everyone. Yeah, so we'll go over some ownership here. It always takes at least like a minute or so to go over ownership. In the meantime, let me see what the slate looks like for tomorrow. Let's see. We are at 4 games tomorrow. Decent size, or not, I shouldn't say decent size, a smaller slate, but it's still viable. Lock, everyone got faded Lou Will for Fournier. Oh my, that's a bold fade for sure. I definitely would have went Lou Will, but you know, if Orlando keeps it close, Fournier probably has a pretty decent game there. So, yeah, that's definitely a risky call. Again, I definitely would have went Lou Will there, but yeah. Okay, let's go over some ownership. In the $40 tournament, let's see. Paul George, 52% owned, so he's pretty high. Let's see if we get some other people here. Lou Williams is 16%. I kind of like that ownership. Again, I think Lou Will and Montrez go a bit lower owned. Everyone goes Paul George. So an interesting pivot would have been to fade Paul George and play both Lou and Montrez. Sabonis at 22%. He stood out as a pretty safe play at that price. Let's see what else. A lot of guys I'm seeing just have Paul George. Yeah, I'm basically getting Paul George. That's it. Again, I saw Sabonis was 22%. Mo Harkless, 9%. Don't mind that. I think there are better value options, but he probably gets 30 to 35 minutes. Let's see. Montrez is 7%. Yeah, so you get a low-owned Montrez, you get a low-owned Lou compared to a chalky Paul George. That's an interesting pivot for sure. Let's look in the $12 tournament. Let's see what some ownership is. Paul George, 40%, so he is a bit higher owned in the higher dollar tournaments. Cash games, let's take a look at what Paul George is. I'm seeing like 40%, 43% in that one. Again, I'm entering a lot of these small double ups. Yeah, I'm seeing Paul George at pretty, I thought he'd be a lot higher owned. 21% in this one, so I'll take that all day. And there was a lot of really good mid-tier plays. Like, it was a close call for me, honestly. With Paul George, Ingram, and Siakam, those three, I only played 2 of the 3. It was a really, really close call. I want Paul George and Ingram, so hopefully Siakam doesn't go crazy. I leveraged it by playing both Lowry and Powell. So, yeah. That's what I got. Let's see. Yes, sir. Man, RHJ looks nice at 3,600. You could do it. He's a guy that can play a lot of positions. I think his minutes probably go up. And I think he goes pretty low owned. So that's an interesting GPP play, right? I think a lot of people are just going to play the other Raptors, right? A lot of people are going to play the high end with Lowry and Siakam, the mid tier with Norman Powell and OG, even Ibaka, the cheap end with Terrence Davis. I think RHJ goes forgotten about, but that's an interesting play. Lowry, Booker, Harkless, Bazley, Drummond, Rubio, Hayward, Sabonis. Don't mind that. Again, you got to hope Bazley starts. If he doesn't start, I think I'd probably try to pivot if you can. But that's what I got. So I think I'm going to hop off here, guys. But thanks again for all you guys coming to check out the stream, for watching the videos. Again, I'll have that video up for the Tuesday slate later tonight. But yeah, like I said, thanks again to everyone, and I will see you guys all tomorrow.